So as of today, we're exactly halfway through the show, so the Don't Bother still have a long way to go, and there's a new little twist, a new direction the show is deciding to go in that might make this show worthwhile for another 5 episodes. Hi fellow Disney Plus watchers, this is Thoughts After Disney Plus Watch, where we review everything new Disney Plus coming out, and I'm glad you're watching. I'm beginning to see a pattern. Every week now, except maybe for the pilot, because that one was really about building the whole team, we get a main plot and a subplot where one of the characters from the Don't Bother's team gets special attention. In the second episode, the secondary plot was Logan. In the third one, we got the story from Sophie and her parents. In the fourth one, we got Coop and this whole phone addiction thing. And this week, it's Maya and Lauren, the geeky girl and the popular girl. And to me, it was the least interesting and maybe the most generic secondary plot line we got in this show so far. The main story is very effective this week and is something that will keep my attention if they go along with it, in further episodes. It had everything to do with Evan's father, Gordon and Alex, and a kind of conflict they have with one another. This episode is about daddy issues. We learn a bit more about Evan's past, why Alex is a single mom in the first place, and we learn that Bombay still has a huge soft spot in his heart, despite him being very cocky in the first few episodes, but some of you might know my opinion on that. I'm not going to elaborate on that here right now. If you are interested in that and commentary on previous episodes overall, you can find that listed on the right in the description or on my channel page. And before we move on, did you know I'm currently the only review channel on YouTube that is specifically Disney Plus? You'll have an idea on what to expect. Click that button and that bell if you want to follow along. Thank you so much. Just to be safe here, I'm going to announce spoilers from here on out. So if you haven't watched episode 5 of the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, I'm sorry. I love to have you here, so you can put this in your watch later list if you want. That was your warning. Here we go. Bombay made some interesting choices, to say the least. I mean, he actually supported Evan's father being there at the game. And why is this an interesting choice? Well, he wants to get closer to Alex. If he fully realizes it or not, Alex is starting to grow on him. So far, so obvious. But after Evan's father came to the scene into this episode in the beginning, and Alex immediately makes clear to Bombay, well, this guy's not good for us. He's all over the place, unreliable, all that. I mean, he left her, of course. What I thought would happen, because this show can be pretty formulaic, is that Bombay would try to compete with that guy, trying to win the attention of Evan, if you know what I mean. Even when he decides, you know what, Alex, I will go with him to the bar tonight, I thought, well, this is his chance. He is now going to try to draw Evan's attention away from his father, ultimately winning the heart of Alex. I mean, this is a classic love story. Classic love story struggles, right? And maybe this was his idea when he decided to go to that bar with Evan. But actually, it turned around a bit. Bombay started to see how important it was that Evan's father spent some time with that boy, instead of him trying to take and steal that position of fatherhood, being a father figure, I like that the choice of Bombay was making sure Evan's father is there for him, because this is also what Alex realizes at the end of the episode. Instead of this show going out of its way to tell the story of cool father who was never around, bad new man who wins the heart of her child and he's there for her, good, those two extremes. No, Bombay is a good man because he knew he couldn't and shouldn't be the father figure of Evan. And by being so honest to himself, he made the best choice. Well, he had to kidnap someone to get there, but I like this episode for just taking that little extra step to humanize Bombay and to get Alex and Evan a real long-lost father arc. The thing about this week's story I didn't like was the subplot of Maya and Lauren. It felt a bit generic and tacked on, to be honest. I get it, they're both very different, but are trying to be friends, ultimately being a sort of Romeo and Juliet of the friendship realm. I get it all. The idea on paper is fine. Geeky girls and popular TikToker girls don't always mesh that well, so it was a peer pressure story. It was going back and forth. Both were ashamed of their friends. Okay, cool, fine. It just felt like it was handled as an afterthought. It didn't have any depth to me, and it ended on a really forced speech from Nick. So somehow he had it all figured out and knew exactly what was going on between these two. He just starts monologuing for a minute, and it felt a little too long and forcefully written in by him. It didn't land well to me. And then we got the final scene where they ultimately switch clothes. Once again, I understand what they're going for, but it fell flat to me. And I'm not embarrassed. That's the line Maya ends with. And she looks at her other friend group and they pull some faces. it feels cheap. The thing I do really like about the final scene is Evan getting offered the position in the Ducks. That can be a great inner conflict. It can also get very ugly between him and Sophie, since he's the one that got her out of the Ducks and he fought for it, alright. And now he has to deal with the opportunity of getting into the Ducks while redeeming himself from him being kicked out of the Ducks in episode 1. It excites me that they're bringing this into the show. So I really enjoyed the main plot line and Gordon making the right choices, Evan getting closer to his father and all that. The humor is still strong to me, maybe the most consistently good thing about this show. I'm chuckling every week while watching this show. It still isn't my kind of show, but I really don't care. This show manages to entertain me enough to keep watching. I'm thinking about wrapping this up. Have you seen the episode and what did you think about it? I love to hear from you in the comments. Next week I'm back, of course, with episode 6. I'm also doing Big Shot today and Falcon and the Winter Soldier tomorrow, including a ranking. For now, have a wonderful day and see ya!